Welcome, everybody, to the YM&Z podcast. My name is Nicole, the host of the show, and today is Friday. Every Friday, we get to meet a member of the YM&Z community. Today, we'll meet Noa Lenone. Noa is from Russia with two little girls living in Zurich. She's a stylist and she's a beautiful soul. She believes that fashion and style is a creative expression of yourself. And I can't wait for you to hear more about her and her story. So let's get to our chat.
To travel from one airport, and that's how I got to Zurich.
Well,
Um,
I gotta say, it's so funny how so many ladies move here for love. And what I'm gathering is that there's some sort of like deficiency in Swiss people that they like crave an international person. I don't know how to explain it. I've just noticed um, that living in Switzerland, they've got everything they need, right? It's such a magical, marvelous place. But so many couples are internationals. And I love this city for like bringing together these international couples because it just kind of like opens up the city and opens up these people. And so it doesn't surprise me because there's so many people who've moved here for love. But I'm sure it's like, I'm sure so many synchronicities, and it must have felt quite like magical. I know Switzerland, I don't know who comes here and doesn't fall in love, but the
I
traveling
know, right?
thing, I'm doing a bit myself, this traveling with a partner, and it's quite difficult. Like, how did you guys cope with the moving and going back and forth? I mean, that puts your relationship for sure through the test. It's very easy when things are comfortable, but I think when you're always on the go, whatever, you learn a lot more about each other. I think it probably solidified your relationship.
Yeah, that's true. And I must say, my husband is not Swiss; he's German,
Oh,
and he is also into traveling. So we are both like traveling souls. And luckily, he had a chance to work remotely, so he was able to live for some weeks in Russia. And in the meantime, I was also traveling, like not just traveling, but moving, changing cities for work. So he had a chance to live a bit in St. Petersburg, a little bit in Moscow, and then in my hometown as well. So before we did the big move from Russia, we also did some smaller moves, but nonetheless quite global inside Russia because I was traveling for work.
that must
So I
have been
kind
so
of did.
lovely to have him in your small town. Like, I guess, did it make you feel quite nostalgic? It must have really like bonded you guys, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was a nice experience because to be honest, I never thought I'm gonna get back to my hometown. Um, because I used to work as a lawyer back then, and in the big cities like St. Petersburg and Moscow, you have all these international law firms, a lot of respect for the legal profession. While in the South, well, it's a bit different. They used to settle issues in a different way, just by talking to each other and agreeing without lawyers, without these lawyers. And then it was also interesting experience coming back there in different capacity because I was then employed by a big international firm. So of course, there things are different. And it was great to rediscover my hometown as as an expat kind of, because I have
Yes.
not been there for a couple of years. And it was also great to introduce it to my partner.
I mean, you see it through a different lens, right? Like when you've got some distance from it, when you've had some distance from it, and you're like, you don't realize over time because you're in your own skin and your own body and your own perspective, like how much distance and time changes you as a person. And there's something I find like quite sweet about going back because you know who you are now. And if you've got, it really like helps you get perspective on your life. And I don't know, I just think it's it's looking at it through a different lens that is like you're removed from it now, and then you just move into this place of being like grateful for it and nostalgic about it. And I can relate. I also feel the same. A little bit of me was anxious going back home because I felt like I had grown from that person, and going
Yeah,
back home somehow was going to, I don't know, do what. And then when I went back there, it just made me feel nostalgic and special, and it was just a nice coming home feeling. And I don't know what I was expecting, but it's always a good experience, and to share it with someone you love, because there's no way of like, I mean, you can explain to someone the place that you came from and your upbringing or whatever, but for someone to see it and be there, I think it's like, it's really special. Yeah.
it
Anyway,
is.
it's interesting what you say about the conflict resolution between the small town and St. Petersburg. What were the differences?
Yeah, St. Petersburg, I would say St. Petersburg is a little bit more of a European city. So it's from how it looks, from how people behave, and um, because Europe is so close there, it's just a couple of hours to Finland, and also because of the history, because it was built already with a site with Europe in sight. And the city where I'm coming from, uh, it's different. You can also see it, I guess, in Europe when you move from south to the north. You notice the difference in how people interact, how open they are. So the city where I'm coming from, it's not so small actually. It's well, in terms of size and population, it's bigger than Zurich, though Zurich feels a bit more like a big city. But you notice that people tend to uh, treat you like you're part of a family immediately. So they open up their big soul and come, you're my friend now. And while in St. Petersburg, it's a little bit more refined. There are nice people there. There's a lot of culture, but yeah, maybe it's north, maybe it's the weather, but people are a bit more reserved and
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it makes sense to me that these big or very international places lose a little bit of their sense of community, I suppose, because it's just such a like, it can be such a working environment, it can be so, it's like there's less of a stable community that's kind of been like built and like lasting for such a long time, that maybe that's why everyone kind of fends for themselves. I'm not sure, or if it's just an open mindset. um I don't know. It's interesting. I'd love to go and visit St. Petersburg. Actually, I hear wonderful things. Although now that you tell me about the weather, I will just prepare myself.
You know what? When I was there as a tourist before moving, I think it was twice that I've been before I moved. The weather was perfect. I've spent like a week each time, and it was wonderful and sunny. And I thought, wow, that's such a beautiful city, and look how great the weather is until I moved. It turned out that probably those times I've spent like the only sunny week in the entire
Oh
year.
no! Oh no! For so long. And then it's so funny how you say you traded a cold place for a sunnier one, whereas for me, coming from sunny South Africa to Switzerland, I thought I was making the trade the other
Yeah.
way. But it just shows you whatever your experience was. Anyway, so okay, so that's fascinating, and I'm sure there's a lot of stuff about Russia, that the culture of it, that we could get into. But I also wanted to um, find out how you got into what you do now. I mean, clearly you're a really creative person, because I like photography, but when I had a look at your Instagram, I was just like fascinated. You have such an eye. It's just so interesting. Whatever you see, you can see that you can see things like a little bit more a bit deeper or a different way to the average or to everyone, I suppose. And only creatives will be able to, I guess, not do a copy and paste version. You know what I mean? And so clearly you have this beautiful eye and it's really unique. And I
Thank
guess
you.
that's what made you do what you do now. But how did you get into it? And explain what it is that you do for everybody.
Thank you for your kind words. That's true. I have an eye for things, and it's has always been like that. I remember myself like drawing dress designs as a child, and they were kind of, I would say, like Paco band style, so not not your ordinary dress. And I always like all things visual, like photography and style. Of course, I love dressing up. Um, but then somehow I got into legal profession, which is quite different from all things visual. But yeah, it's just it just is so because in Russia you get to choose the university and what you would do quite early when you don't really know what you want to do. And then I realized, but I like other things like style, I like design, but it was a bit too late. And also at that time, lawyer supposed to was viewed as the profession. So if you want to achieve something, you
Mm.
need to be a lawyer. And okay. Um, and even during that time that I was a law student, I had to express myself through clothes. So I was probably the most strangely dressed law student you've ever seen. Uh, so I
The most
experimented.
expressive.
I was experimenting perpetually with accessories. I would wear like a scarf instead of a skirt over my trousers. That's the trend this season, by the way. So I
Can't
was
wait to hear about these trends because I don't know anything about it.
I would experiment with necklaces, brooches, scarves, or whatever you can find, because the last thing I wanted to be is boring.
Mm.
You could see all kinds of hairstyles and hair colors on me, which was not always helpful when you had exams with strict professors. Uh, but yeah, I did also great as a lawyer until I felt that that's not really my favorite thing. And um, at one point, I decided to look into what interests me more. And the first thing I did is look into my style because, yes, I like to experiment with style, and um, I felt that I'm not so comfortable in just a classic business outfit in my legal roles. And I decided to bring my style in order first. So I took some courses for myself to um, make my clothes reflect who I am and how I am. And then I got such an inspiration that I immediately jumped on a professional course afterwards because I just loved it. And I had no intention. I just wanted to do it, so I did. Um, and I loved that one too. And I thought, hey, I can also help people uh, feel better in their second skin because, clothes is your second skin. Why would you wear anyone else's skin? Why wouldn't you use it to express yourself? And then I helped my friends find their style, and then friends of friends, and then um, somehow it went further, and I thought I can help more people. And then I decided to make it a profession, and I see how uh, happier my clients are after really translating their personality into style. And also, it reduces the stress that they often have while shopping or while dressing up every day. Because um, often, well, it was the case for me as well. I had full closet, but nothing to wear.
Every woman can relate to this conundrum, myself included. I think every woman can relate to that feeling of like frustration of putting something on. It's not to say that it like doesn't fit you, but it doesn't fit you. And you're frustrated and you think you've got nothing to wear, but it's because exactly it's a second skin and it's not resonating. And I'm sure a lot of men get probably really confused and frustrated where like a woman, like it's just not me today. I could have worn
Yeah,
this last week, but today it doesn't fit. And it's such an underrated thing. Um, because that's how we walk around, like it's how we present ourselves. And a lot of the time, or I truly believe that we act our way into thinking. We believe and behave, and that shapes how we feel. And it's not necessarily the other way around. It's not like I feel happy, then I'm going to dress great. You have to act first, and if you dress how you feel and how it like truly represents you and who you truly are, you will feel the best version of yourself. And that's why I think what you do is unique and special, because there are a lot of stylists out there that do that copy and paste thing. Like anyone can go on like Instagram and have a look at fashion and copy whatever Heidi Klum is wearing. But then they don't feel like Heidi Klum, right? And
exactly.
it's because she looks so amazing, because she's dressing for her and she understands herself well and she feels confident and comfortable in it. And it doesn't mean that just because you dress the same that you're going to evoke the same feelings. And so we all try and do this copy and paste thing, and all we're doing is moving into this weird collective look. We're like collectively deciding what a 30-year-old looks like and what a 20-year-old looks like and whatever. And it's interesting because I've noticed as I'm like shifting through the next like phase in my life, like when you mid 30s or so, it doesn't even have to be an age specifically, but when you're going through like a shift in your life, you kind of need your fashion to move with it, because otherwise you just don't, it doesn't resonate with the person that you're dressing as and that you see in the mirror. And I know I haven't refreshed my wardrobe since I moved to Switzerland. And for sure, I'm a different person now. And even if I am the same size, the same everything, I put on my clothes now and I just am not happy with it. And even though I'm such a minimalist and there's nothing wrong with it and I don't want to spend lots of money shopping, I just do know that it is not, I'm not that same person. I've grown it. Even if I haven't literally outgrown the size of it, I've outgrown it. And I think what you do is exactly that. You help people in a way that they can't really do this. I think a lot of people think they can do this self help when it comes to style and fashion. And what a pleasure to have someone to be able to like have done the work and guide you. And it just seems like that's what you do. I had a look at your website and I was just like, okay, this is a deeper version of style and fashion than I've ever seen. Sorry, I know
Exactly.
there's not a
Yeah.
question there. It's just an observation.
Yeah, but you're exactly right. It's about the person who you are inside. So um, when you go through transformations, you feel that you're a different person, and then you just see that your clothes is not about you anymore. And then, well, I'm not American though, so I'm not saying like throw everything away, but you need to look how you can make your wardrobe work for you, for your lifestyle, and for who you are as a person and what your goals are, because it's also a great visual tool and it helps you reach your goals, because when you feel right in your clothes, you feel more confident, and you're also sending a visual message to other people, because yeah, when you don't get to speak to a person yet, you can already feel some signals from the visual part. And so many people and so many businesses are investing in designing their products, their websites, the business cards, and some are missing out on the, like, one of the biggest uh so to say advertising spaces. So the, like, imagine you pay for a billboard and you don't put anything on it, so that would be a waste of your advertising budget, right? But you also invest a lot in your clothes, and when it is not about you, when it is not sending your message, when it does not make you feel you, it's like wasting this advertisement budget.
Yes. Like I'm a firm believer in, there was a very good example, but I forget where it comes from. There was a guy, it could be Jay Shetty, if I'm honest, I can't remember, but he was saying that before he had a job, he dressed for going to work. And then he would go to a library and dressed for the job that he wants. It's like dressing for your intended you that you want to be.
Exactly.
Um, First of all, I think the psychology of that means that you are moving through the world as if you, and then you kind of manifest it, because if you show up as that person and you dress like that person, other people see you as that person, but you see yourself as that person too. And you kind of move into your intentions of not the person that you just are now, but who you want to become. And I think it's to be taken more seriously, because a lot of people dress based on what they see others doing, but it's not necessarily who they are, who they want to be, and how they are perceived is basically like you can become a bit like white noise in the world. I mean, I can see when there's certain trends that especially young people do it, where there's a trend and then everyone looks the same.
Yeah, yeah, that's so true.
And I
And
walk
that's
a
why,
lot and I observe this, and I'm just like, there's no way for me to know that person, because you can see that they've dressed for how everyone else is dressing, and it just gives you no indication, and it really sells the person short potentially. And there is also the problem of like, you don't want to be perceived wrong, and you don't even know which signals and messages you're giving off. Like for me, for sure, um I'm very kind of physical, but then if you're like living in active way all day, like you don't even realize that how you can be perceived. And it's not bad or good. It's just like, just to know, to be aware of like what it's doing to you and how other people are seeing you, and know that it's a choice you're making rather than just kind of like a default setting that you're settling for.
yeah, that's so true. Also, about the trends, I don't like trends really, because exactly once the trend is on, especially the influencers trend, like you see people dressed absolutely the same. And it was interesting to observe in Milan. You see, um, there are two distinctive groups that you can see, especially in young people. Some are dressed very authentic, so they express themselves. But there are many, many, many that are dressed following the trend. So you would see, I don't know, clones of Gigi Hadid walking in the street, and there are
Exactly.
many.
Yeah.
And then there are elder generation, uh, especially women, but also men in Milan. You can see that quite well. Uh, and they rock their own style. And that is such a pleasure to just observe how they play with colors and shapes and accessories.
Yeah.
And immediately you have a different feeling about the person and about the thought they put into their um, outfit.
And also, I think, how can you get away from feeling fraudulent if you're trying to be Gigi Hadid? You know what I mean? Like, if I'm like 35 and I've got like, not a body of a fucking supermodel, and she's wearing that and I'm trying to be like her, you're going to feel fraudulent because she's dressing for
Exactly.
her and you're dressing for her and you're not her. And so, of course, you'll feel this like weird imposter syndrome. As good as you look, it's not to say it's you. And then you feel like you're faking it. And when you feel like you're faking it, it's a little bit like you're ashamed because you're not really being true to you. Even if you look good, I think it can do something to you and like really like you're kind of behaving like you aren't really good enough. You have to look like this. It's just very interesting.
Yeah, also in terms of shapes, when you're trying to look like someone, you got to keep in mind that um, your body might not be the same as this someone. And then when you go to shop the same things and they don't fit you in the right way,
And
you
you
think
feel so
that's
self
something wrong with
loathing.
you. Exactly.
Exactly. Oh my God. Everyone knows that feeling of like going to a change room and putting something on and being angry, like upset. I can't tell you how many times I will put something on that I feel like should have fit or used to fit, and now it doesn't, and being angry that my body doesn't fit in the clothes correctly when it's the other way around. Clothes should fit us. We shouldn't
True.
fit into clothes. And for many decades, I did this thing where I would use my clothes as ambitions. I would buy the pair of jeans slightly tight to keep me in line.
Ouch.
And then every time I wore it, I would be like, oh, and it's like the measure. And it's such rubbish because it means that you're assigning, like you're giving yourself this goal, and then you feel defeated, and it's just like this reminder that you're not that person, but you bought it at that stage. You bought it with this hope in mind, and then you feel self-loathing about it. And I don't know if many women are like me, but I just thought that's like just not I'm just not happy doing that. I can't do that anymore.
Yeah,
Is that something you
that
notice with clients? Do we mainly like do that to ourselves?
everyone does it. Believe me, everyone does it.
Mm,
And yeah, my role is also to explain that it's nothing wrong about your body. It's just uh, the size is just a number, and there are well-fitting clothes and there are ill-fitting clothes, but there is nothing like, ill-fitted body. You just need to know what you like on yourself, and you need to find what your body feels comfortable in and what is complementing it. And there is clothes for everybody.
mm.
You just need to find it and not try to box yourself up in this terms of I wear only size this and that and I'm not going up or I'm not going down.
And
It's
sizes differ in brands and shops. So it's a mind fuck
exactly.
if you try go by that measure. Also, I think another thing is for a long time you can have a brand as an identity and you can shop at the same place because maybe it used to be the happiest version of you or something, and then you stick to it like it's going to be magic, and you're going to transform into that person. And sometimes you need to see what else is out there and move on a little bit. I know that I was shopping, like let's say H&M for example. Let's say you always shop there and it's your go-to, and you just don't know what else is out there, and then it's just really closing off, and making that means that you have to fit within a shop like that.
Yeah, that's true. And I always recommend looking around because um, the pattern with which many women shop is like, I know that I used to buy this there, so I'm gonna go and buy this there. And then you end up in this like
Yeah,
perpetual circle that I have nothing to wear. But just you need to look around, you need to try out things.
yeah,
And by doing that, you also find the way to express yourself. So when I'm
yeah.
working with my clients, it starts not with what you're wearing or what items you own, but how you feel, what you want to express. So the hardest tasks that my clients get is name me 5 adjectives who you are and how you want to be. And based on these adjectives, we base your wardrobe and your hairstyle. And for many, it's not so easy to come up with 5 adjectives and missing out beautiful and stylish, because pretty much everyone wants to look beautiful and stylish. So these adjectives do not say anything about you.
Oh my gosh.
And
What a cool exercise. As you put it forward to me, I'm like, oh my God, that is a hard thing to do. It's a
it
hard thing.
is.
I feel like 5 is too few, but at the same time, I can't settle on one. So it's a crazy thing to do. Okay. So for everyone who hasn't gathered it yet, you're a stylist in Zurich.
Yeah, I'm based in Zurich, and I also work a lot online.
Yeah, I see
And
that.
the
You've got a
Corona
beautiful.
taught us shopping online and consulting online. And then it turned up just so convenient both for me and for my clients.
Yeah, I see you offer like really stunning, and also the hair thing is important. Um, Especially, I don't know, in Switzerland, but I've had the worst haircuts here, and I think it's because if you leave it for someone else to decide your style for you, you're bound to like just a hairstylist who can do many things. If you just go in there and you go for the same thing and you get annoyed, I think it's because we don't know. We like can only know what we've seen on other people. And so it's like really important to understand you, who you want to be, what you want to look like, and all that before making style decisions for yourself. I know that I could do with a review, definitely. So you offer such cool things. And I would say anyone and everyone should go to your website and have a look. But okay, so you do that. Is that now full time? Have you left behind law?
Yes, yes, especially now that I have 2 kids. It's good to well, be happy with what you do,
Yes.
and it's good to have the flexibility which you don't get with law.
And how old are your kids?
The eldest is turning 3 soon.
Oh my God, teeny tiny.
Yeah, and the other one is gonna be 1 in 2 months.
Oh wow,
So they're
new.
pretty fresh.
Okay, what are they? Boys, girls? What are their names?
Girls, both are girls. And I
Beautiful.
feel that it's also good for the girls to have a example
Yes.
uh, in mother in how mother can enjoy what she does, and
Yes.
also in style, because if you read biographies from many people of style or of art, you notice that they mention their mom or their aunt dressing up and using
Yes.
accessories, making updos or whatever, and this stays in the memory, and then it comes back. It comes back in one way or another in the love for style, love for dressing up, and understanding the importance of details.
And the importance of self-expression, because fashion can be just another way we are put in our place. It can be
Yeah.
as women, and it shouldn't be. And it's very, I guess, it's difficult. I would imagine as a parent, because when you're a baby, you dress your baby. At what point do you kind of let them take control over their style, and you want them to have autonomy over these things, but I mean at some point you go from dressing them to them making their own decisions. That must be an interesting transition. did you have
Oh yeah.
um did you have a 2-year-old dressing up as a fairy to school, or how does that look?
It happens quite early. So I thought, now I have an eye for detail, and I'm a stylist, so I'm gonna teach my daughters
Of course,
some kind
I'm
of
going to have
detail.
control over this.
And like, mommy, I want a Mickey Mouse t-shirt. Oh my God, now it starts.
Oh boy. And little girls want what the other ones got.
Yeah. So there goes a Mickey Mouse and whatever you have. I say, okay, now you express yourself. Now
It
it's your
must be
freedom.
such a triggering thing of control because like just raising kids, I guess in general, is like this balance of you wanting to raise them and nurture them and love them and also hand over the reins to them. And it's just such a delicate balance. And I imagine like fashion is one of those things that because kids are an extension of us and our ego, we could project our kids to look a certain way big time. I can see that in myself. I would do that. Like I'm a very neutrals person maybe, or I've got these ideas, and you would want to walk around with your kid and them be somehow a weird accessory of you. That could like potentially be the problem, I guess. Like if they're dressed embarrassingly, how is this going to look on me? But that is such a you issue, right? Like you've got to let go at some point.
Absolutely. If you don't let go, it's just goes on your nerves so much, and also it's not benefiting the child because it's important for the child to explore and to learn and to have certain area where they can have their freedom.
It's so
And
important for us to get a hold of our own identity from young because a lot of us lose it really quickly. So that's a really special way to let them explore and discover that for themselves.
exactly, and I thought in no way am I going to fight with my daughter over a t-shirt. I mean, she can wear whatever she loves and feel happy in it.
Oh man, I can't wait to meet them and you. So, all right. So, where in Zurich are you?
I'm around Albisrieden.
Okay, you're so close to me. And what is it that you looking forward to or that you want to do within your life here in Zurich?
Now, first of all, I want to find my um, tribe because yeah, during Corona times it was not so easy. And before I was working in another canton and I had to commute, so I had no time to build a community around me. But that's important. Of course, I have my friends who are now available only remotely, but you need people around you who are similar to you, share your values, and it's important for me to build up this community. And I find that Yumi and Zuri is uh, such a great place for it because you have such amazing ladies around, and I can't wait to meet everyone in person.
Yeah, I think the values thing is important. I think what I've realized with Yumi and Zuri ladies is that they can be incredibly different, um, come from all walks of life and have different experiences and different likes and dislikes, but they've all got a set of values. And as long as that's aligned, there is so much compassion and kindness and understanding and open-mindedness towards one another, and that's really what we build our community on is that set of values. And we've never had conflict or anything like that because we only surround ourselves with ladies who feel like you feel, like community is important, and we don't want kind of like frivolous relationships in our lives. We want them to be a bit meaningful and lasting, and we're just so happy to have you because I'm sure everyone will hear after hearing your story that you're just the same as all the rest, lovely and wonderful. And I know there's so much more to your story, and I can't wait to hear. And I can't wait to meet your kids and your partner. What is his name?
It's Felix.
Okay. So just so you know that Yumians is a community that like invites your whole family. So unless there's a ladies only, members only event, feel free to bring them along. A lot of our members have kids, and that's why we also like community because it's not about socializing, it's much more than that. It's like connections, and we know that people out in our community come with family and it's supposed to be inclusive. So we can't wait to meet you and them.
That's amazing because it's not so easy as an expat to find really meaningful connections and community that is there for you and that you are there for them.
Yeah.
And I must say, my family loves parties and meeting people.
Good. Good. Yeah. I mean, I think I know that I feel the same way. I really love to experience things with people, and it's not just a once-off thing. Like anyone can go to coffee with a stranger once off, and it can be feeling empty because like no one's really present for it, or it's just there's the intention behind it is everything. And when we have the intention to meet and like build a relationship that's like a bit lasting and supportive or whatever, I think that's all the difference. And all we're doing is creating the community we need. And for sure, I know I need the same thing. In fact, I'm so selfishly building this community because when I have a family one day, I'm going to need all of the support that I can get to.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
So
great.
you're looking for what kind of events and stuff from YM&Z? What's down your alley?
Um, I'm actually interested in all kinds of events, just get-togethers to get to know people, and um, maybe some arts and crafts could also be interesting
Very
for me
cool.
because that's my kind of meditation when you do
Nice.
painting or pottery or something like that with your hands, and your brain and your emotions are um
And I think doing that stuff together is like you can sit and learn about someone across like a dining room table, or this immersive experiences that kind of like you can go a bit deeper with people. And I love to paint, so and all the crafts. My mom was a huge fan of that, and she dragged us kicking or screaming or whatever. We did all the things. So I'm up for that too. Yeah, I can't wait. I think that's great. And hopefully one day in the future we can have something that you can educate us on style.
I would love to do that actually because I have
Okay.
so much to share, and it would be great to teach it. I have so much to help people with, and sometimes you do need like a full help from a stylist, but sometimes you just need that little insight.
I can see a makeover edition in the making here, because we've got a beautiful member of our group, Carla, and she's from the world of glamour and makeup, and she will transform your skin and your makeup. And she recently did mine, and she's fantastic with makeup. So who knows what's in our future collaborations, and also definitely your expertise. So we will chat and put something together, because I think even if it's just selfishly, I also, like I said, need this intervention. I can see I need to like up my game in terms of style and fashion.
I would love to put something up, really. If there is interest, I would be into doing it anytime.
Okay. Well, we can chat hopefully more in person about that.
Sure.
Um, and definitely, I know Anki, the other co-founder of Yumi and Zuri. I know she has a daughter, Michaela, and she can't wait to meet more mums. And then also, I think style and fashion is she comes from New York, and I know she's
Oh,
just been craving it. Sometimes you walk around Switzerland and the women are very um, plain or neutral and not as expressive with their fashion. And if you if you want to, it's really hard because you can't like draw your creative, I don't know, inspiration from other women necessarily here. So to have someone a bit skilled is like very helpful. There's just some
yeah,
questions that I like to ask every lady at the end of every
sure.
interview. But before I do you have any questions for me?
Um,
You don't have to.
yeah, actually, that's a good question. Uh, it would be interesting to know how has it worked for you to create such a great community when many people try but not many succeed?
I think I grew up with community. My parents made it a priority, and they knew I could see what it took to build that, and it took vulnerability, openness, fully accepting that people are complex and flawed, and to lead with vulnerability. Really, it's really a case of everyone's accepted. If you can just be open here, then you'll be accepted. And I saw that growing up, and I really had that in South Africa, where I was from, because also the people are very much like that. They're open. And then nothing prepared me for what the lack of that in Switzerland. I know that the Swiss actually are very compassionate people and kind and accepting and loving, but they do it within their tight circles, and they form those communities from very small. So as an expat, you can feel rejected, even though it's not personal. It's just a case of they've got their group and their community already. And when I looked at the stats, Zurich is 40% expats. And so it's basically saying that half the city here is feeling disconnected. And it's because they're looking to Swiss people to offer their hand or their love or their support. And there's more than enough of us to give us that sense of community. Because I don't think it's anything to do with Swiss people against us. I just think we as internationals, it might not be our fault that we didn't come here with our community, but it is our responsibility to build one for ourselves, because it takes a village. It takes a village. You need support. Doesn't matter who you are, how strong you are. And I joined a WhatsApp group, and this WhatsApp group created some meetups, and I met a lot of the ladies. And I just knew that that's what I was craving. And instead of relying on someone else to do what I was looking for, I thought, okay, let's just create what I'm looking for, which is a strong community of people who are like interested in more than just socializing together and meeting for a once-off thing or whatever it was. So I just thought, let me put out there what I'm looking for, and the right people come to that message. And so I think the women do that work. We only put out what we appreciate, what we love, what we stand for, and then the right women are drawn to that. And so it hasn't actually felt like work at all. It just feels like finding family. And I know myself and Anki and the other members, they realize we realize what you put in is what you get out. And so you can't expect to just get without giving part of you. And so everyone here is vulnerable and knows that it takes kind of participation and effort and caring about the other, not just yourself. So it's been a long time, but it's been fun, and it just doesn't feel like work because it's so important to me. I know it improves the quality of my life. So it's a selfish pursuit, actually.
Well, thank you so much for what you are doing.
It's my pleasure. All right. The questions for you. Are you ready? Okay.
No.
Look, whatever your first answer is, it's probably the right one and always the best. So, if your 18-year-old self saw you today, what would they be happy about and what would make them sad?
Well, they would be happy about my hairstyle for sure.
Okay. Explain.
Well, I had so many hair experiments when I was around 18, like that I wouldn't ever repeat again.
Describe one of them to me.
I had purple hair, I had red hair, I had a mullet, I
I
had a
love it.
perm, even a perm, even twice. Um, so I had black hair and total blonde, after which, well, my hair said goodbye.
I can relate. I'm trying to
So,
reverse that mistake.
but no, to be serious, I think my 18-year-old self would be happy that I'm still having fun with my life, and I have my family around that I'm happy with. And sad, well, I don't know really. uh, I think everything that happens in my life is, um, be it good or bad, is resulting in where I'm now. And I'm quite happy to be here where I'm now.
That's great.
So whatever it is, it's experience.
Yeah, I imagine my 18-year-old self would find it hard to accept that. It would probably very much judge the superficial nature of whatever is going on. Um, what situation makes you feel awkward and why?
Oh, that really made me think. Uh, I feel rather awkward when I when I try to speak Swiss German, and then suddenly people think that I do speak Swiss German, and they answer me in a very fast and very Swiss German, and I'm like, um,
And then you want to retract what you did.
I'm just good in uh, copying accents.
It's like, I only prepared for this much. You can't carry on this conversation. Oh man. Well, at least you're doing that much. I can tell you it's the hardest part. It's the hardest part about being here. And I know not even just from myself, but all the data of all the answers that the language is the hardest bridge to cross. Um, if you were given a surprise day off, what would you like to do and what are you likely to do?
I would love to spend the whole day doing something with my hands, like crafts and dancing. Uh, but what I'm really likely to do is, um, yeah, routine gets on you. So I would do something for around the house for my family. I would definitely go for a coffee though, because I'm a big coffee fan, and I love discovering coffee places. So whenever there is something popping up in town, I would go and check it out, which also makes me happy. Although it's not me making the coffee, but I really appreciate a good
Would you be
one.
interested in going on a barista course, Noah? Because I love coffee and I thought, even if I never use this, how cool to know how to make it.
You know what? I've done it.
Have you? Then
I've
you
done
have
it
to show
already
me.
because I'm prone to learning random things, you know.
Great.
Yeah, so whatever I see that I like, I'm just jumping on it. I'm doing it. So I love coffee. I've done a barista coffee. I've done um a UX design course because I love design. So I was never planning to work as an UX designer, but I thought, why not? It's interesting, and yeah, so I've done this, and that's how I also got to be a stylist. I just jumped on a course because why not? Because I wanted, and then it turned out to be something more meaningful than that.
Well, I'm so glad you answered in that way because I'm really sick and tired of asking that question and what the person would love to do is also what they would do. And I'm just thinking, that's not me. That's not me. I would want to go for a picnic in the mountains and a spa and all the things, but I know that I would work and maybe, I don't know, go for a walk or something. But so thank you for making me feel like it honestly is my answer. Maybe I asked that question because I'm looking to catch people out. Okay. What do you think makes a person most attractive, and where do you put yourself on that scale?
I think the most attractive thing about the person is being authentic, not trying to appear someone that you think the others might want to see. And I also noticed that, well, at least I am most attractive when I feel happy and confident. And then you can see it in the eyes, in the way you talk. It's kind of a inner light coming out,
Yes.
and that's what is most interesting for me.
I think it is
And
such
where
a
I,
problem that we people please our way out of our authenticity.
yeah,
Mm.
where I find myself on this scale, I try to measure that, like stop every once in a while during the day and check where am I? Am I now being myself, or am I trying to meet someone's imaginary expectations? And that helps me to uh, keep me more me,
It's so
because I,
important because it catches up to you. It's like a gradual thing.
yeah, when you don't check it, you can just lose
Lose it.
lose this point. Yeah,
Yeah, it's super important. And it's also, honestly, I don't think anyone's answered anything else. Authenticity is the most attractive quality, and we seem to all agree. And I agree too. I think you can tell when someone is authentic, they're confident, even if they're an introvert, it doesn't matter. Even if they're an extrovert, it doesn't matter. It's an inner comfort that is most attractive, I think. Um, what would someone who really knows you well say about you to somebody who doesn't know you?
I believe they would say that a good friend, um, and you can rely on me. And sometimes I don't know for what reason, because I ask this question to my friends, what is the first thing they would say about me, and they, for some reason, they said that I'm wise. I mean, what do you get this from? I'm, yeah, I might be fun, I might be doing stupid things, but wise. And then I thought about it. Yeah, maybe there is something about it, because um, I trust my friends, and
I think a wise
some
person, I think a wise person is someone who has um, learned to put themselves above other people's expectations, because there's a lot of downfalls from that. And when you have clearly, you didn't sell out ever. It sounds like you knew that you weren't going to settle for a life that wasn't going to make you happy, it seemed. And so it makes you really incredibly wise, because most people aren't that courageous. And there's a lot to learn in that, I'm sure. Your whole life, if you've prioritized yourself and stayed true to that, I think the life lessons I can't imagine. And moving countries and all of that, I think it makes you incredibly wise. So I would say they probably are right. Can't wait to hear more about it.
yeah, then we are all wise in this
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time, Noah, because I learned so much about you, and I know that it's only scratching the surface, especially given like everyone should go and look at your Instagram and on your website, because um, you're so creative and courageous,
Thank
and it
you.
shows. You really don't have to. You don't even have to have a conversation, because you display it so beautifully yourself, and you have a gift for that. And so, if that can sort of, if that magic wand can be waved on some other people with their style, then then it looks like you are very talented in that way. And
Thank
sometimes
you
it
so
takes
much,
someone
Nicole.
else to see you, I think. When you can have someone else bring out a part of you, and it must take you looking at someone and seeing the best version of them, which I imagine you do.
Yeah, that's my favorite part of it.
Yeah, I'm sure. I think any good stylist looks at a person not as they are, but as they truly are, or their potential. And a lot of us
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
see the potential in ourselves. And so someone like you is like a weird like it's such a beautiful way to reach your potential, and how you look. It's such a big deal because it really sets your self esteem in so many ways. So, what a gift you give. And I want everyone to go and look and sign up. I can't wait. And yeah, many more meetings and events and meetups and whatever in our future. So, I can't wait to meet Noah. And thank you so much for your time and for being in Yumi and Zuri. We're so lucky to have you.
Thank you, Nicole. It was a pleasure to speak to you and an honor to participate in a podcast. I mean, it's my first ever podcast.
It's your first? Oh my God, I'm honored.
Yay.
Now, I mean, I think it's going to be the first of many. All
But
right.
thank you so much. It was a pleasure to meet you online, and I hope that we see each other soon in person.
Absolutely. I can't wait. Um, Thank you all for listening through to my conversation meeting member, Noa Leone. Thank you so much, Noah, for your time. We really enjoyed learning more about you and can't wait to see you. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you go check out the episode with Carla Lima, as discussed on the show. Carla's into makeup and from the world of glamour. Go check out her episode. Thanks again, everyone, for listening. I'm going to share all the links to Noah's website, Instagram, so you can contact her and refresh your wardrobe and fashion sense. I know I can't wait to get started. Look out for more events and meetups around Noah and what she does, and some collaborations in the future. I will check back in with you on Monday for the marketing episode of the podcast, and back here again on Friday where we meet another member from Yumi and Zuri. So until then, have a fantastic weekend ahead, and ciao for now.